Hi, welcome to The Art of Yoga with Cat Justice, and congratulations, you have made it to the final prenatal yoga video, final month of pregnancy. This month, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel it. I'm getting really tired, really fatigued, and an energetic yoga practice just doesn't feel very authentic right now. So if that's what is feeling good for you, rewind and go back to the last couple of months. If you're like me and you're feeling like your body is working hard enough, then this video is going to be perfect for you. We're going to do a restorative sequence, so a really restful sequence that's going to help you feel, take away some of the aches and pains you might be feeling in your back or throughout your body, and it's going to help to relax you, let go of some of that stress that might be building around the potential birth, potentially. And yeah, just allow you to just relax and be in your body and feel good. So it might be helpful to have some props. If you've got bolsters, that's great. You can use couch cushions, you can fold blankets. Usually about 3 or 4 folded blankets is about equal to 1 bolster. So at things where I'm using a bolster, feel free to improvise and use what you've got. I have a block and a strap handy, but again, you can figure out what works for you and what you've got. So let's start out seated. If you want to prop yourself up on some of those bolsters or blankets, that might feel comfortable. And as you come to seated, just nice comfortable cross legs, go ahead, close your eyes. And with the eyes closed, just touching in on what's going on inside your body right here, right now. Relax the face, the jaw. And go ahead, take one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. And as you breathe, just feeling that gentle movement down at the belly. It's harder and harder to get the breath really low in the body as the belly grows bigger and bigger. So just feeling what you got, the space that you have. And also feeling a little bit of that warmth at your heart. And just feeling the connection between those two things. Feeling that sense of warmth, of compassion and loving kindness, both towards yourself and towards the growing baby inside. And just feeling that nice gentle rhythm of your breath from inhale to exhale. From here, as you find this gentle breath, go ahead and engage the Mula Bandha, lifting the pelvic floor. And see if you can still breathe and find that pelvic floor. It's okay if you need to relax the pelvic floor for a breath or two. And then opening the eyes. And let's come into our first restorative posture, which will be a restorative child's pose. So you're going to take that bolster or those folded blankets and you're going to bring it forward so that you can rest your head down on it as you take child's pose. You want the little gap for your belly. And then you're going to let your head rest down. If this isn't enough support, this is where a block can come in handy or add more blankets in, but you can always prop it up a little bit more. Just finding what's comfortable for you. Let your head just turn to one side. And as you breathe here, really feel your breath moving into your back. If you're getting some of that lower back pain, this is a great pose to just breathe into that sensation. Feeling the back gently stretch on the inhale and soften on the exhale. Like you're massaging your back with your breath. then from here, you're just going to turn your head so it faces the other direction. And then gently rising on up. Now you're going to take that block and you're going to slide it under the bolster to make a little incline plane. And again, if you're using blankets, just stack a few extra blankets at the top to make it a little bit higher at the top of your makeshift bolster. And we're going to take a very gentle, it's not even a full twist, just a very gentle hint of a twist. So I would call it mermaid legs. You kind of bring both legs to one side. Draw your hip right up next to the bolster, and then you're going to inhale and feel your body lengthen and lift, and then exhale and just let your body melt down onto the bolster. Let your arms relax at their sides. If the top shoulder feels a little tight or tense, you can always add another blanket or another bolster, something under that top arm to give it a little more support. And feel free to close your eyes and again really enter into the sensations of your body. Noticing if there are aches or pains and breathing into those sensations, massaging them out. And with all of these restorative poses, if you want to hold them for longer, feel free to pause the video and stay a little longer. Letting the full weight of the head really rest down. Feel free to stay, or when you're ready, you just climb back up with the hands. Inhale, lengthen as you lift up. And then as you exhale, we'll switch sides. Just flipping over to the other side, draw the hip right up next to the bolster. Hands on either side. Inhale to lift and exhale to lower down. And your head should always look in the same direction as your knees. Once again, just really breathe into the back, breathe into the sensations of the body. Allowing your body to really sink and melt into the support that the bolster or the blankets are giving you. again, feel free to stay for longer, or when you're ready, go ahead and come back up. And then from here, we'll move all of the bolsters and things aside and come onto our hands and knees. And from hands and knees, now we're going to move through cat and cow. On an exhale, round through the back, drop the head. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, shoulders away from the ears, just gentle arch. Exhaling as you round, finding cat. Inhaling as you arch for cow. And feel free to add in that Mula Bandha, that lift of the pelvic floor, that Kegel. Particularly on cow pose is a nice one to engage that Kegel muscle. Lift through the pelvic floor. But really we're just focusing on moving with the breath through comfortable motion. If the extremes don't feel good, then back off. You can make the movement really small. Fingers are spread, feel the whole palm of the hand engage with the floor. And then on the next inhale, go ahead and come back to neutral. From neutral, take your hands a little bit forward of the shoulders, tuck the toes, and we're just going to do a little bit of rocking motion. So as you exhale, you're just going to draw deep into the hip joints, rock it back, and again, engage that Mula Bandha. Inhale, come forward. Have the toes tucked because eventually we're going to come to down dog, but exhale, draw back, Mula Bandha. Inhale, come forward. Once more, exhale, draw back. Inhale, coming forward. And this time we'll move into downward facing dog. Exhale, draw back, engage the Kegel, and lift on up. From here in down dog, feel free to kind of walk the feet in place. This is really nice if you've been getting calf cramps at night like I have. This pose feels really good. Stretch them out. And then from there, just reaching through the heels, lifting through the hips. Always okay to have some bend in the knees. If to bend the knees, you need to take the feet a little wider to make room for the belly. That's fine too. And then exhale, child's pose. Coming all the way down, legs are nice and wide to make room for the belly, and relax it down. Breathing into the back, into the hips, take all the effort out of the pose. Let your body just melt. And then inhale, rise it back up to hands and knees. And then we're going to move into pigeon pose with a blanket or a bolster. So you're going to take a folded blanket or a bolster and bring it up kind of at an angle at the right side of your mat. From here on hands and knees, it's a little awkward to get into it, but you're going to lift up and swing that right leg forward. From there, it takes a little bit of scooting around. So you kind of move the bolster into a position that feels good, where you can eventually rest down and maybe rest your head onto your hands. Or, I'm getting a little squished here with bolsters. If you've got the room in your hips to be able to melt down a little lower, feel free to just fold the hands and rest on them. We don't really want a deep stretch in pigeon pose at this point in our pregnancy, just because that SI joint, the sacroiliac joint at the base of the spine, it's so easy to destabilize it. So we really want to feel the back open and relax in pigeon, maybe a little bit of a stretch into the hip, but we don't want a lot of sensation back here, other than a feeling of relaxation. So if you feel a stretch in your lower back, it just means you need to come up a little higher. You can do the pose right here, up on your hands, or maybe it's just not right for you. Maybe go back to child's pose, hang out there and join us, or fast forward and join us on the other side. And then from here, we're going to walk the hands back up. Again, this is the awkward part, but you're going to lift up and come on over the bolster, and then we'll take the other side. So again, you put the bolster or the blanket at an angle, and then you gracefully get the leg up and over. And again, find the angle that works for you. You got to find a way of feeling the body kind of relax down and making room for the belly too. Sometimes the bolster or the blanket can kind of get in the way of the belly. And then you can stay up on your hands, you can come down to elbows, or you can lower down, stacking the hands and resting the head there. Feeling your hips just soften and sink into the support of the bolster or blanket. And again, just being mindful that there's not too deep of a stretch going on in that sacroiliac joint. Sometimes one side of pigeon feels great and the other side feels like a strain. So it doesn't have to look perfectly symmetrical from one side to the other. You can always be more lifted with one side. Really feeling the breath slow down, and really using the breath to soften and relax the body. From here, I'm going to inhale, walk back up, tuck the back toes, and again, as gracefully as you can, hopping over the bolster. And then from here, we're going to come back to seated. If you're comfortable sitting flat on the ground, feel free, or you can prop yourself up on a bolster. But we're going to come into bound angle pose. Bringing the feet together. Now you might be feeling in bound angle, wow, I've got so much more flexibility in my hips than I'm used to, which might feel fun, but we don't really want to go that deep into the hips. So from here, I always think, okay, just gently find the edge and then back off. Just a little bit. Lift the knees. Feel that Mula Bandha lift through the pelvic floor, and then angle your body forward any amount. So it might be a centimeter, it might be that your belly can touch your feet. When I'm not pregnant, my belly cannot touch my feet, but it's kind of exciting that it can. It's only going to get easier as the weeks go on. Lengthening through the spine. Stay focused on your breath. Again, feel free to close your eyes to really find those internal sensations. And then inhale, gently rising back up. And then from here, we're going to take another forward fold, this one using a bolster or those folded blankets. The block might come in handy too, just depends on your comfort. So from here, you're going to bring the bolster or the blankets kind of in between your legs, And then you're going to take your legs as wide apart as they need to be to get out of the way of your belly. So you're going to want to scoot the blankets or the bolster forward so there's a nice little gap between your belly. And then from there, you're going to inhale nice and tall. Feel your toes gently draw back towards you. Lift the Mula Bandha and exhale, folding forward. From here, as you come forward, you can see this bolster really isn't doing much for me. So if that's where you're at, that's where you can stack more blankets or take the block kind of nice and high under the bolster and then rest down. And you can rest your forehead straight down, or sometimes it's more comfortable to stack the hands and rest here. And then again, as you soften into it, maybe you move the block a little further down. Feeling that really nice stretch through the backs of the legs, but again, noticing if there's strain here at your sacroiliac joint. If there is, back off. Come up a little higher. Really focus on the Mula Bandha, which will help bring stability to that joint. Otherwise, just enjoying the sensation of the back of your body softly opening. And then inhale, gently rise back up. From here, you're going to slide the block out. We're going to keep the bolster handy. And we're going to come onto our back for a restorative bridge pose. As always, when you're on your back, if you feel like your heart starts racing or shortness of breath, roll to one side and rest and come on out. We don't want to suffer through that sensation. Even to come down on your back, don't go straight down. Think roll to one side first and then roll onto your back. From here, you're going to step your feet up and then very again gracefully or not, you're going to scoot the bolster of the blankets underneath your lower back. So it's not going to be a super deep bridge pose. It's going to be a restful bridge pose. You can let your arms rest out at your sides, palms up. If it feels nice to have a blanket rolled under your neck, feel free. From here, closing your eyes again and feel your lower back just soften into the bolster. This is a really gentle inversion that can be really nice for all of that pressure kind of pulling down on the belly. It kind of reverses it. I always think too that the baby might really get a kick out of this. They would really like it, this feeling of kind of doing their own little inversion. Relax the face, the jaw, the forehead. We don't stay here too long again just because we don't want to put too much pressure onto the blood flow as it returns to the heart. So to come out, you're once again going to engage that Mula Bandha, stabilize through your back. You're going to just gently lift up a little bit, scoot the bolster out, and then slowly roll back down. Nice and slow. From there, go ahead and take your feet wide and let your knees drop together. And just feel again that SI joint, that sacroiliac joint in your lower back. Just feel it soften into the floor. Hi, Tybalt. He loves yoga. And as your back softens, you can feel kind of that sense of relaxation going all the way up the back. And then to come out, again, we don't sit straight up. You're going to engage that Mula Bandha, stabilize your pelvis, roll to one side, and then coming on up. From here, we're going to build into our final restorative pose. You can take a traditional Shavasana if you just want to lie on your back, or you can build into this nice little heart opener. This is a great one for those of us that can't really lie on our back for long periods of time anymore. So you'll want to make a little inclined plane, either with a block and a bolster, or again, stack blankets and put more blankets at the top. And then we got a couple of options for what goes at the bottom. So we can use a strap for a hip opener, or we can use a bolster to support our legs. I'll show the bolster version first. Tibble loves this pose because that's a little less fussy. So you're going to scoot up so that your sacrum is right up against the bolster. The other one's going to go under the knees, or just a blanket roll is fine. And then you very carefully and gently lie back. Again, you don't want to engage your abs too much as you lie back, so feel free to use your arms. And then from here, palms up, eyes closed, just let your body melt. So that's version 1. Version 2, we're going to use a strap. So again, never sitting straight up. You roll over and then come up. With the strap, you're going to make it into a nice long loop. I know this is a fun kitty toy. And then that loop is going to go around first your back, so you can sit into it. And then you bring it, you find those Bandha Konasana, that bound angle pose, and you bring the strap, here, let me face the camera so you can see where it's going, kind of up and over the feet, so that it's going to rest around the feet. From there, you do the same thing. You scoot back, you use your arms to support you as you lower down, and you close your eyes. From here, if you feel like the strap's not really doing very much, you can always tighten it. So you just find, again, if you have to sit up to do it, it's just fine. Find where it's looped, tighten it a little, or loosen it if it was too tight, and then again, lie back. So whatever version you're taking, you're going to close your eyes and rest back. Feeling your arms grow nice and heavy. Let your back just melt into the bolster, the blankets. If at any point, again, you feel strain in that sacroiliac joint, especially if you're in the bound angle version, you can always just subtly slip your legs out and bring them back to that bent knee position, where you take the feet wide and let the knees drop together. Or you can just straighten the legs. If you want to add that bolster under the knees, that's fine too. But wherever you're at, you're just going to slow your breathing down. Letting go of physical effort. Let your body just melt. And this is a great time too if you start to feel your thoughts kind of running away with you, or ruminating on things that are maybe not making you happy, things that are stressing you out, or even just running ahead of you, things, the thoughts of the past, thoughts of the future. This is a great time to practice just taming your mind, bringing it back to the breath, bring it back to the present moment, back to those body sensations. And just back to that feeling of being able to really just enjoy being right here, right now, who you are. Enjoying this process of creating a new person. And cultivating that sense of love and compassion both towards the baby-to-be and towards you and your body as it works hard to do this very unique and important job. Feel free to stay here as long as you want, but when it's time to come out, you're just going to gently wiggle fingers and toes. Let any kind of stretching or moving come into the body. If you're still in the strap, free your feet, stretch it out. And again, don't sit straight up. Engage the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha time as you roll, and gently make your way back up to seated. As you come to seated, again, take that moment, one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. Feel the warmth and that love and compassion of the heart. Feel the breath dropping down to the belly. And just take this moment to really just appreciate the amazing things that your body is doing right now. And to honor all of the work that it does. And to thank yourself for giving it this restful time to restore some of that energy so that it can keep doing its work. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and inhale, let the hands float up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, thumbs to the forehead for peaceful thoughts, to the mouth for peaceful words, and to the heart for peaceful action. Om Shanti. Namaste. Well, thank you so much for going on this prenatal yoga journey with me. The next video is going to have a baby in it. Oh my God. Crazy. So yes. Stay tuned for postnatal yoga coming up in a month. And yeah, good luck with the birth and with that transition into motherhood if it's your first time, or to bonus motherhood if it's your second, third, fourth, or whatever. Namaste.